When we talk about training and education, it's not just about the individual, right? There's huge positive externalities, as the economists say, to training and educating somebody.
In some ways, this is a reflection back to the hearing that we had in Kenosha, Wisconsin, talking about how we make sure we're preparing people for the jobs of the future and how we can do that through apprenticeships, the importance of working with your hands and the ability that working with your hands provides for a good family-sustaining job in the future and the skills that you need to have it.
There are pathways to the middle class beyond the bachelor's degree. Apprenticeships, as we're discussing here, are a key avenue for upward mobility, and more students are taking advantage of them.
So far, we've generated 600 jobs, and here's what we've learned. First, traditional skill-based training does not support the human development needs that are front and center in helping people engage with employment. Getting people to work is not just about skilling them up. It's about helping people identify and address their barriers to employment.
And so I think when you look at some of the apprenticeship sector jobs like construction and manufacturing, those are sectors that have traditionally been well-paying. And I think that if we want to also lift up the apprenticeship model as being kind of the wave of the future, so to speak, and perhaps in some cases maybe more superior, if folks want to use that terminology, I think that in order for it to continue to be strong, we have to also make sure that those jobs that are attached to those electricians, plumbers and steam fitters, manufacturing, they have to still be good paying jobs.
I think from a federal standpoint, we need to market these trades programs more, make it more attractive. I mean, when you look at the pay and the benefits, these people in these trades make $100,000 a year plus benefits. That's more than a lot of teachers or anything else.
One of the biggest challenges, though, to expanding pathways to the middle class beyond the bachelor's degree is that the government has its thumb on the scales in favor of traditional colleges and universities. Traditional colleges have access to Pell Grants, federal student loans, tuition tax credits, direct state appropriations, tax-exempt endowments, and more. What sources of funding exist for non-college pathways are limited and irregular.
I currently have two children, 18 and 21. I think my generation, we talked so much about college, we forgot that there are other opportunities for young people to be successful in other areas, including the trades. Occupational licensing is also an issue. When you require an individual to have X amount of hours to be able to even apply for an electrician's license, there are barriers to entry for these young people. And so we need to be looking at that. And to that end, I happen to be at American Truck Training on Monday with a group of individuals that are beginning the truck training program. They don't qualify for Pell Grants. They don't qualify for financial aid in many cases.
It's not always just the skill, like we talked about. There are people, if we want our economy to be just and equitable and diverse, there needs to be pathways for people who struggle with a lot of basic needs.
We know that now more than ever, it really is critical that we continue to expand access to registered apprenticeships and continue to ensure that registered apprenticeships incorporate quality standards and worker protections. These important protections of the registered apprenticeship model safeguard the quality of construction, the highest level of training, and the safety and security of the most skilled workforce and competitive workforce that we're going to need to be able to meet the demands of rebuilding our infrastructure in communities across the country.